Brits love to shop. And in a country with a whopping retail habit of almost £7 billion a week, the number of new products hitting our shelves has never been larger. I've been in the retail industry for more than 20 years and I have never seen it change so fast. So I want to know what we are spending our hard-earned money on and why. To find out what Britain buys, I'm going to meet the retailers. Cake in a mug. It's unbelievable. The trendsetters. Now stop. This is for dressing dogs up like humans. The celebrity endorsers.
Fashion has always been about expression. No better way than with a slogan t-shirt.
And of course you, the great British buying public.
Is that how much it's worth? No way, I won't pay that.
So, if you want to know how our bottoms are changing shape,
there is a real renewed focus on a curvy silhouette.
How much we'll pay for a bit of hedonism.
We absolutely rule the world for festivals.
And I learn more than I ever wanted to about mammals.
Yeah, I do wear lycra. I've got the whole kit.
Stay tuned because I'm going to tell you what these purchases and more say about us and how we're living in Britain today.
The British people have voted to leave the European Union.
With the UK's impending divorce from the EU and David Cameron exiting number 10, thankfully 2016 is not all about breaking up. The UK wedding industry is worth over £10 billion a year and is poised to get even bigger because, of course, in 2013, gay marriage was legalised. Thank you, Mr. Cameron. There were over 5,000 same-sex marriages in the first 12 months in England and Wales, including my own. But that's not the only way that weddings are changing this year. This year, Brides magazine told us that the average cost of a UK wedding was £30,000. That's a lot of money, but that's what weddings can add up to once you take into account the average cost of wedding venue, reception venue, then there's catering, flowers, wedding cake, wedding dress, entertainment, shoes, the photographer, and the rest. But that doesn't mean to say that a wedding needs to cost you £30,000. In fact, in 2016, lots of couples are taking control of planning their own wedding, and that's saving them money. And one of the biggest helps has been social media. In the past, brides-to-be and the occasional willing groom would set up a wedding scrapbook to plan their big day. Today we have the internet, a vast digital scrapbook where we can find images and collate them in dedicated websites. One of the biggest of these sites is Pinterest, and it's proving to be a bit of a game changer in wedding planning.
One of my friends has just got engaged, and she's literally within about 15 minutes got an entire Pinterest board available of what her wedding is going to look like.
Users have generated over 850 million image pins globally. That's a lot of pictures, but what's so interesting is that all those pictures give an amazing insight into not only what we've bought, but what we are planning to buy. So before, and when I got married, the first time, you know, I remember just going through wedding magazines, but now this is just so amazing. You can just, at a hit, see worldwide how people have created their weddings.
In the UK, there's 116 million pins about weddings.
And our high street brands are reacting to the planning we do online. And more than ever, it's starting to shape the products they sell. The traditional tiered wedding cake, as chosen by Wills and Kate, has gone a bit risque.
So we call this a naked cake. And we're seeing a 40% increase in cakes like this one.
Beeberry has been making wedding cakes for 8 years and has noticed 90% of her customers taking inspiration from social media.
The thing about modern day wedding cakes is you can really express your personality. So people choose different recipes for different tiers, different designs. They incorporate their favourite flowers or fruits.
When they come in to see you, are you finding that they're coming in with their smartphone and going, I want that one?
Yeah, it may not actually be a picture of a cake that they want to replicate, but they'll say, there's lace on my dress, can we bring this in?
So that's real bespoke individuality, but brought together by sourcing what everybody else is doing. And then I'm going to take this and create my own bespoke wedding from it.
Yeah.
With over 15 years as a floral designer, Orlando Hamilton is bang on trend with succulent wedding flowers.
It's something to take home as a lovely keepsake. I like the way that they're finding their way onto wedding tables because they kind of got all this wonderful natural aspect about them. I like to see on somebody's wedding day that some of their friends and family can walk up to their table and walk up to and say, that's Mary on the table.
Oh, blimey. There's a proof.
And one of the other reasons we think they're so popular is they're a bit gender neutral.
Of course, gender neutral, also with the growth in single-sex weddings, you have to think about what the bouquet's like.
What you have to do is kind of wonderfully flamboyant boutonnieres. We don't want to feminize the sort of guys, but, you know, in terms of the two...
Some might want it, Orlando.
Listen, if they want it, I am this jet there to sort of supply what they want.
Still throwing the bouquet, right? Still throwing the bouquet? Come on, let's go, let's go. Come on, Orlando. Yes! Adorable. Wedding planner Charlie Beard has dressed over 70 brides and has seen a bit of rock and roll added to the classical wedding gown. Is that your jacket or have you...
It's not my jacket, it's something that we're seeing now. So, you know, here this halfpenny dress is quite classic, beautiful lace, but then you throw on a leather jacket over the top and suddenly it's got that great kind of modernity to it.
What? Put this on the shoulders?
Yeah, so perhaps in the evening when it's getting a bit chilly or when you're going for your photos, and you've got that classic leather and lace look.
I love it. I mean, I personally love it. I'm just laughing at the thought of what my mother would have thought.
True.
You know, it's so true, though, isn't it? And that putting that on just reflects who you are.
Exactly.
And again, it's the casualisation of it, yet still we're keeping the classic tones, doing it with a casual twist.
Exactly.
10 years ago, wearing a biker jacket over your bridal dress would have only been for Hell's Angels. But trends like these spread fast with social media.
Before, you were all seeing perhaps the same images. Now there is just such a wealth of inspiration out there for any kind of bride that really, they can really make it their day.
What I love about what I've seen today is that social media's created this democratic voice that everybody has an opinion, everybody can say what their taste is, and you can edit and take from that instead of being dictated to by the trend leaders or the magazines or the celebrities. And I like that. And weddings aren't cheap. Even if you're not the one getting married, it costs an average guest around £377 to attend a wedding. Well, that's of course getting a nice outfit, your accommodation, travel to get there, and of course the wedding present. Generally, people are getting married later in life, often in their 30s. And over 3 million couples are already living together. So if they do tie the knot, newlyweds probably already have the old wedding list stalwarts of toasters, teapots and dinner plates. They're looking for something a bit fancier.
So what they're buying now, actually the things that are more desirable, they're want products rather than need products. Couples are using their wedding list to maybe upgrade some items. So we're seeing large TVs, leather sofas.
Don't worry, you won't be expected to shell out on a new sofa each time you're invited to a wedding. Increasingly, guests are clubbing together to buy bigger presents. But if a gift-based group effort isn't for you, there's a new hot gift appearing on wedding lists up and down the country.
One of the most surprising things we saw last year appear on our customers' gift list was this pineapple, which was really quite a surprise. But I think it's because people want something that's quite memorable to remind them of their wedding in that moment. So actually this was an amazing sell-out success and we couldn't keep it in stock.
As well as decorative exotic fruit, other unusual gifts include a £20 bamboo bee house. Marry fast because they're selling out. While the top 3 gifts are a slow cooker, a wireless music system and the NutriBullet. So you can listen to your favourite tunes, have a meal and get a veg injection, all on your wedding night. So no change there then. And with an average John Lewis customer spending nearly £3,000 on their honeymoon, cash contributions are always popular too.
Guests love to be able to contribute towards the honeymoon itself. So we're seeing really luxurious destinations like the Maldives, Mauritius and Sri Lanka being the most popular destinations of our couple's choice.
With the Rio Olympics dominating our TV this summer, the Brazilian effect is being felt all over the high street, from flip-flops to fast food.
The influences of Rio for us this year will definitely be about more of that outdoor style eating and cuts of meat. So they're very famous for picanha, ideal for barbecuing.
And the beaches of Rio go even deeper. They're affecting our underwear. Did Did you know that us British women, on average, have 34 pairs of knickers in our underwear drawer? And 1 in 3 are normally bought in Marks and Spencer's. That still makes M&S the biggest knicker retailer in the UK. In 2005, they launched the Brazilian knickers, and now they sell around 6 million pairs a year. So for 2016, they've gone back to the beaches of Rio for inspiration.
We've been thinking carnival, we've been thinking colour. We looked at the new bikini shapes that the girls are wearing now, and actually we found this amazing sweetheart shape which inspired our Rio Sweetheart knicker. And you can see the clear features of this are this gorgeous sweetheart shape on the bottom, really enhancing curves and giving a gorgeous derriere shape.
The South American influence seems to be a big hit with us Brits. But will these new styles with their enhanced technical know-how knock the favourite midi shape off the top spot?
Our challenge was to create something that was not only flattering from size 6 to size 22, but also created a very clean line under clothes without actually creating a dig-in VPL, which is actually quite a challenge. But what's happened recently is a lot of fabrics have become a lot finer, but with a lot of power, allowing us to create garments that actually stay in place without resorting to those clunky, chunky elastics that really form the basis of many underwear drawers, you know, in decades past.
The gorgeous curvy derriere shape isn't just big news, it's massive. Massive. Right now, bottoms have never been bigger.
Thanks to celebrities such as the Kardashians, actually there is a real renewed focus on a curvy silhouette.
So if our knickers are being re-engineered to accommodate our desire for a bigger butt, what about our outerwear? How's that going to change when it comes to wearing that everyday staple, jeans? From workwear to catwalk, from skinny to bootleg, jeans have always been a favourite wardrobe essential.
Although leggings are selling very, very well, we are still buying denim in unprecedented volumes in the UK. It's all part of this casualisation of our wardrobes. And as people are buying less into dresses, they're spending a lot more in denim.
We love our jeans. We spent 1.5 billion on them last year, but as we all know, finding the right fit can be frustrating. But today there are more designs for more body shapes than ever before. What jean is best for long legs?
You're nice and slim, so everything's going to fit you. Everything will look good on you. I feel like you'd like a mid-rise.
I do like a mid-rise.
Yes.
You're absolutely right there. I like that on my knickers as well.
Yeah, there you go. See? You can
Too much
tell.
information. That low rise that was in, it was not attractive, was it?
It was almost like the bra. You know, you get 4 boobs with a bra. It was like that. You would get like another lump, which we don't want.
But people wore it, lump or no lump. I remember just sort of people bending over, and it was not a good look when you just saw the muffin.
Exactly, or the knickers.
With low-rise jeans firmly in the fashion past, what should we be wearing? Is it a retro thing we're going through now? Is this sort of 80s high waist?
Yeah, definitely.
Is this the jean to wear to show your bottom off?
probably isn't good. This is more a fashion style, isn't it? And so it's not going to really hug your curves. It's not going to sort of like lift the bum.
I mean, that sort of slightly faded denim, high waist.
Very
that is
80s,
so
very
80s,
80s, 90s. It suits everybody.
So, if we're not blessed with the Brazilian butt, how do we make it look peachy?
A yoke that dips down nicely like this will give you a peachier bum. It's really important. And that distance between where the pocket's positioned to the yoke and then the yoke to the waistband.
So the lesson is try before you buy. Buy what suits your body and not what's just on trend. Now, chaps, how about trying a confidence-boosting pair of sexy pants? They seem to be doing the trick for some of us, as men's underwear sales have spiked recently. But what do industry insiders think is behind it? Find out after the break. Before the break, I asked you what industry insiders think is behind the increase in sales of men's underwear. The answer was the half-naked selfie. Yes, saucy snaps from the likes of Towie's Dan Osborne have encouraged men to invest more pounds in their pants. Do you remember when misshapen vegetables were only seen on the old programme That's Life or on suggestive emails? For a long time it was thought that us customers would never buy comedy carrots or bent cucumbers. But over the last few months, all that is beginning to change. Thanks to the likes of TV chefs and food campaigners like Jamie Oliver and Hugh Fearnley-Whittingstall, food waste, both in the home and in our supermarkets, has become a hot topic. These campaigners thankfully got the supermarkets to wake up, stop wasting stuff, loosen your guidelines, and sell us fruit and veg that doesn't have to be so perfect. One supermarket accepted the challenge and gave us boxes of veg for £3.50, which otherwise would have been binned. What a waste.
We were trialling single wonky items previously, and they seemed to get really good customer feedback. But we wanted to look at would customers accept buying this as a whole head product. So we launched a wonky range in Asda.
The public, it seems, were crying out for a wonky revolution.
In the 3 months we've been selling the Wonky box, we've sold 32,500 boxes so far. So that's about 162 tonnes of product that would have normally been graded out and not sold in the Asda produce department.
I'm not particularly fussed about ugly vegetables. As long as they can be cut up and put into nice foods, I don't really mind.
I would eat a wonky carrot. A carrot is a carrot.
The Wonky box has given us a lot of insight into what customers will accept. So it's allowed us to look at the rest of our specifications and flex them where we can and sell more of our growers' crops. So fantastic for customers and for growers.
And the good news is Asda are not alone. Other supermarkets have been trying out imperfect fruit and veg on their customers. Hooray!
What I really like about this is it's taken that middle-class veg box idea and just made it accessible to everyone. Isn't that sensible?
In June 2014, Her Majesty the Queen shocked the nation.
My government will reduce the use of plastic carrier bags to help protect the environment.
Us Brits have been going through 7.5 billion placky bags every year. That is a lot of plastic. But within a month of the government issuing their 5p levy on plastic bags last October, supermarkets reported a nearly 80% reduction in new bag use, which is very good news, not just for the environment, but also for all those manufacturers out there who make these, our recycle bags. The reusable shopping bag, with some 439 million sold the year before the tax came in, sales are set to rise even higher.
Design is really important. We demand great-looking bags. It becomes almost an accessory. It's almost another piece of clothing. A retailer's worst nightmare is when I walk out with my Tesco shopping, but in a Sainsbury's bag. Who knows I've shopped at Tesco? Everyone thinks I've shopped at a Sainsbury's.
To persuade us to turn into walking billboards, or at least not to advertise the competition, shops are turning to fashion designers like Orla Keeley, Julian MacDonald and Henry Holland.
For the retailer, if they make the most beautiful, coveted, desirable bag in collaboration with the designer, it will get lots of publicity, you'll have consumers wanting it. It's a complete 5-point win.
That's all very well, but a lot of people don't want to spend £5 on a retailer branded Forever bag, or come to it 5p on a plastic one. Since the 5p tax was introduced, we have nicked about £26.5 million worth of carrier bags. That's pretty shocking. It's been a really strange few months in retail. We've seen the demise of British Home Stores and Austin Reed. Why? Well, I can only think that it's because they weren't giving customers what they wanted. And I found a group of people who really feel that there's a gap in the market for stuff that they need. Leonie Anderson is one of Britain's upcoming models. She's graced the catwalks of New York and Milan and worked for everyone from Marc Jacobs to Vivienne Westwood. But she made the headlines in February when she sent this tweet. Why is it that the black makeup artists are busy with blonde white girls and slaying their makeup, and I have to supply my own foundation? Hello, Leonie. Okay. Tell me about this now quite famous tweet that you put out in New York. Tell me why, and then what you said.
Well, basically, it was in the middle of Fashion Week, and it was really crazy to me that, you know, in 2016, a makeup artist didn't even have, you know, one foundation that was suited to my skin tone. She only had foundations that were suited to lighter skin models or white models. And I just asked her, do you actually have foundation for my skin tone? And she was like, you know what, I don't. So I had to get out my makeup bag and provide my own products backstage at a show, which you shouldn't have to happen. And I was frustrated about it, and that's why I went onto Twitter.
And the story caught a lot of women's attention, as it's reflected in the makeup aisles up and down the UK, where the makeup shades available stop at a certain point.
my friends who are, you know, my colour or darker, we have to buy more expensive brands now in order to get makeup that looks good. This, for example, this costs like £31. Whereas, you know, my white friends can go to Boots or Superdrug and be able to get a foundation for like £10 or, you know, around that price. You know, if I go to any of our high street stores, they don't even have, you know, much variety. For example, like this is not my shades, and this is the darkest from this brand. So it's still really difficult actually to find foundations or bases for girls of colour. It's frustrating, the fact that in 2016 I'm still having the same problems I experienced when I was, you know, growing up experimenting with makeup. You know, young girls, they're still finding it so difficult that now they have to go to MAC straight away for their first set of makeup. They don't even get a chance to experiment with what they like or whatever because you're having to pay a fortune.
The big brands do have products. L'Oreal started its Women of Colour Lab in 2014, and Neutrogena has hired actress Kerry Washington to help expand their range of shades. But where are they on the British High Street?
I started experimenting with makeup when I was about 12. And since then, High Street hasn't really progressed in what it offers.
When you go into any of the big stores, there isn't anything there for us. It's as if we don't exist, yet we are really big spenders.
There are 4 million non-white women in the UK. Now, that's a massive market that retailers have failed to tap into in a big way. So what's going on? We asked Superdrug to explain.
At the moment, we don't believe we are catering and doing a good enough job, and we get regular, if not daily, feedback from customers asking when we're going to get this wider shade selection into our stores.
The retailer knows there is a problem as well as the customers. The issue is what gets put on the display.
The brands select the products and the categories they want to drive. Do you know what the issue is? It always comes down to space. So the brands have the shades available. Now, we can get these shades online, but we know our customers want to come into store and be able to try them.
It's the age-old problem, retail space. They have a limited space for the amount of the units that they can put out. So what do? They give the most to the bigger sellers, and they give the least to the smaller sellers, which is the darker shades. But how do you grow the market if you keep putting out a small selection? You can't. There's the conundrum.
There absolutely is a market out there. So we're working very closely with some of the big brands that you see in our stores, so the likes of L'Oreal, Revlon and Rimmel, to bring that wider shade selection into the UK. And that's why you're going to see a big change over the coming months.
Some progress is being made, and Maybelline is also extending its range in store, so hopefully others will follow. But whilst waiting for things to change, some entrepreneurs have started their own cosmetic lines.
There wasn't really any option available for my skin color. So because of that, I sought to create something that on the high street for women of color.
We need our own things. We don't have our own representation. I think black British women are quite invisible, in fact.
So come on, retailers, up your game, get more stock out onto the shelves, and then we can fill these. Now, One veg-loving celebrity has been getting up close and very personal with their greens. Can you guess who posed for a naked photo shoot recently on a carpet of cabbages? Find out after the break. Before the break, we asked you which celeb recently stripped off for a photo shoot with a load of cabbages. The answer is Britain's Got Talent judge Amanda Holden. She posed to promote the health benefits of vegetarianism and the work with PETA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. Oh, the British summertime, a spot of Wimbledon, punting down the river, the village fete. Next to Christmas, summertime is a very expensive time for us Brits. There's the family holiday with the kids, on average over £2,185. Barbecues and outdoor entertaining, nearly another 200. Sprucing up the garden from the above, over £350. And as if that wasn't enough, there's another essential summer ritual clamouring for our cash. The Great British Music Festival. We Brits love a music festival. In fact, it's almost a rite of passage. With over 800 happening across the country this year and 14 million of us set to attend at least one, the music festival continues to be one of the headline acts of the Great British Summer. They may take place in a muddy field, but their influence is definitely reflected on the high street. For a few months, the fashion pages are full to brimming with all the festival celebs showing us what they're wearing, and not only that, how you too could get the look.
Nobody does it better than Kate Moss. She's, of course, the queen of festival fashion.
Starting back in 2005 when she was snapped wearing her hunter wellies with her cut-offs. And since then, she's almost single-handedly resurrected the fortunes of Hunter.
Kate Moss has certainly given them some welly, with the company reporting £16 million of profit in 2015.
The interesting thing about festivals is that they've become quite big business in terms of brands. So all the brands will have pop-up shops, they'll be hosting parties, they'll get celebrities on board to host those parties for them, like Suki Waterhouse did at Levi, and that was hugely successful because everybody's going to photograph her wearing her Levi cut-offs with her Sonia Raquel top.
But now it's not all about celebs. The new generation trendsetters are taking over, or as they're known in the business, influencers.
Somebody with a large social media following is as covetable for a brand to dress at a festival than, you know, as much as any other mainstream celebrity.
So what have the influencers got lined up for this summer?
Well, you're still going to see all the flowery frocks and the fringing, but in addition to that, there's more slip dresses, and I think this is coming through from the Saint Laurent catwalk, which had a bit of a grunge vibe to it.
I feel like tiaras, little slip dresses, oversized leather jackets are the new top half to your welly bottom half.
But festivals and their influence don't just affect the clothes we buy. Rob da Bank is one of the new wave of festival moguls, going from superstar DJ in the 90s to launching Bestival in 2004 and co-founding the Association of Independent Festivals.
It just seems that this has become a cultural part of our calendar.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as you get to March or April, then, you know, all the broadsheets, all the tabloids, everything's full of festival fever's coming, you know. We absolutely rule the world for festivals, you know. We're the market leaders. We're a hedonistic island, you know. I think we've always had that since thousands of years ago, you know, Stonehenge and stuff. We've had these mad kind of gatherings and sort of making a big noise together and shouting and screaming and staying up all night, and that's, you know, that's kind of where it all stemmed from.
And these days it would seem we're prepared to pay for a bit of hedonism.
What are we talking about people spending?
One of the cheaper festivals, it might be between 100 and 150 probably for a 3-day show. The top-end shows are between, you know, 200 and upwards for the ticket.
But before we've even collected our wristbands, there are a few festival essentials. There are tents, travel, clothes, and that's big business for the high street. The average age of a festival goer is 33, with 30% over 40. And with the more seasoned clientele coming to festivals, they aren't prepared to put up with the same old grotty loos.
So do you think our standards are rising now? People are demanding more at these festivals.
The toilets have to be spotless, the food has to be of an excellent level, and that's right, because the people are paying a lot of money for these festivals. So yeah, it's totally changed the landscape, and people rightly expect a lot of stuff.
Improvements in quality can best be seen in festival food.
Been doing music festivals for 6-7 years since we started. We've done Glastonbury for many years, and the standard of food is like really good. Before it might have just been a white van serving greasy burgers. Nowadays people expect a higher standard. Anything you could ever want to eat from different countries is there. Vegan, gluten-free, being health conscious is on trend.
Festival trends have a huge impact on what we eat at home. So things like pulled pork and bowl foods, those are both food trends that came from the festival world.
The ones I went to recently, there were some like cool type foodie places that have now popped up.
When I'm looking to this year, I'm expecting it to be more about sweet trends instead. So think about fruit lollies. This is part of that whole eat clean movement. We don't want sugar in our lollies anymore. That's a big festival trend that will definitely hit the high street as well.
All you need now is an outfit.
You just need to dress as if you were going to any other gig. Just because it's in a field doesn't mean you have to dress like Pocahontas.
In an outfit like that, I don't think she's going to have room to put the other essential when you're out at festivals, the smartphone. She'll need it for smosting. That's social media boasting to you and me. But this year, the really cool kids are turning their back on being ultra-connected and choosing dumb as the new smart.
collectively, as a nation, we look at our phones over 1 billion times per day. I think many of us could feel that we are saturated, overwhelmed by torrents of information via lots of different services.
This may come as a shock to anyone in their 20s or under, but there was a time when your phone wasn't also a computer.
It's only a decade ago that there were hardly any smartphones out there, and people would get phones to make calls, and now there is a kind of a trend to go back to that.
The old-fashioned dumb phones are still really popular, and many of the mobile phone shops are still selling them. And 1/4 of Brits now have dumb phones that have no internet access because all they want to do is, guess what? Make a phone call or send a text. And everybody wants one now, don't they?
I always said I'd never have a smartphone, and then upon getting one, I realised that I can't really manage without one anymore.
I would never go back to a dumb phone, because I think once you've trodden into the dark waters, there's no escape.
Maybe this might change your mind. This is the Punct One dumb phone. So beautiful, so dumb, yet so very pricey.
I would pay for that phone, if it's a dumb phone, probably about £5.
I'm saying 20, that looks quite cheap.
Not very much, probably not more than £30.
Actual price, £229.
Is that how much it's worth? 200.
No way! I would pay that.
People would. I wouldn't understand why. Why? Because people pay ridiculous money for technology to try and have something different.
I don't like it.
So what do you get for your money?
It does very little at that retail price, but what it does do, it does really well. It'll make calls, it'll receive text.
But even at that price, and with those features, when it was released in Christmas 2015, the Punct sold out.
The people that will buy this phone actually span a really broad spectrum of people, from people that maybe don't have and don't want a smartphone, all the way through to younger people that are saturated with technology, information, have had several smartphones and are becoming sick of it.
Saw the Punct phone on Instagram, I think, one day, and thought, yeah, I needed to digitally detox, be more present in my own life, and be more productive in my own life, and, you know, most importantly, my kids don't need a father who's forever looking into a phone and interacting with that when I could be interacting with them.
As always, the trend is helped not a little by celebrities being snapped with dumb phones. Rihanna, Vogue editor Anna Wintour and Iggy Pop have all been photographed without their smarts. And then there's a certain dumb-phoned Oscar winner.
There's a classic case of Eddie Redmayne giving up his smartphone. It used to be the case that having a smartphone was a statement that you were somehow more connected or more tech-savvy, but they've become so prevalent now that people that wish to somehow make a statement and be different, this is a way of doing that.
But if contrariness isn't your thing, there's also another good reason to do away with your smartphone.
And some people have got really interested in dumb phones because you can't get distracted. In fact, more people reputedly have been killed taking selfies than via shark attacks.
Now, in which British city did a car retailer recently see a 340% rise in the sale of blue cars? Find out after the break. Before the break, I asked you in which city has a car retailer recently seen a 340% increase in the sales of blue cars. The answer was, of course, Leicester City, whose astounding against all odds Premier League win could possibly have had something to do with it. But Leicester City winning the Premier League was more than just a great underdog story. It somehow just questioned the sporting status quo. Leicester winning the league wasn't the only surprising sporting story we've seen in 2016. Back in March, Olympic gold-winning cyclist Victoria Pendleton swapped one sort of saddle for another, but that was definitely bucking the trend. A third of us are now regularly on our bikes. Cycling is now Britain's third biggest participator sport, and more than 2 million people now cycle at least once a week across the country. And all us two-wheelers are buying cycling products like never before. The latest figures show bike sales at £956 million a year, and sales of accessories, parts and clothes breaking the £1 billion mark. This is extraordinary, right? This is a bike shop. Well, you wouldn't believe it if you came here because it is buzzing. You'd think it is one of the most busy, fabulous restaurants, and it's full of every age group just having a nice time. That is what great retailing is about. There are over 45 cycling cafes like this throughout the country. A place to buy gear, hang out and get your bike repaired. So this is your workshop? Yes. Right? So this is actually what the core business started being, is come in here and we'll repair your bikes.
I guess your ideal customer experience is you come in the morning, grab a coffee, leave the bike here on your way to work, we'll fix it.
Come back, have
Come back in the evening,
have
a beer.
Have a beer in the evening. That is called a really good retail concept, Sam. Sam Humphreys opened the Look Mum No Hands Cafe in 2010. Business was good, but in 2012, cycling moved up a gear and the cafe welcomed legions of new cycling fans. Where did it all come from, all this phenomenon with cycling?
In 2012, we had sort of double whammy because we had the Tour de France in July. Bradley Wiggins won that tour, and that's the first time we've ever had a British winner of the tour. And then immediately on the heels of that, we had the Olympics in London with an amazing cycling success.
2012 was just a huge turning point for cycling in this country. Those athletes, Bradley Wiggins, Victoria Pendleton, were just an inspiration to, you know, everybody across the country, and everybody started to get on their bikes.
In particular, these bikes. Halford's best-selling woman's bike, the sit-up-and-beg Victoria Pendleton branded Somerby, and the rather sportier men's top seller, the Boardman Road Team. In fact, the success of the Olympics and Tour de France gave further rise to a particular type of cyclist, male, middle-aged, and dressed head to toe in lycra. I know everybody talks about the mammals.
Yes.
Men, for mammals, men, hang on a minute, mammals marry middle-aged men in lycra.
Yeah, I do wear lycra. I've got the whole kit. Some like it, some don't. I'm called a mammal.
All lycra. There's nothing sort of baggy or anything. Yeah. It's very specific to the sport.
Like girls have their different dresses for each day of the week. Cyclists generally have different lycra kits, one for each day of the week, and then you've got to have different bicycles for different purposes. So whether it be the dirt jumper or the road bike or the mountain bike, you've got to have the right gear.
I have 5 bikes at home. One more to come.
But things are changing, and now over a third of cyclists are women. They still like lycra, though. Do you find yourself, I see you sitting with your little hat on, and you've got your tops on, do you find yourself buying more and more and more kit and stuff?
I found myself admiring it.
But do you find that it maybe replaces what you'd spend on fashion? Because it's really interesting. I've been doing a lot of research that people are now, you know, fashion, people are buying less of that and actually spending more money on what is important to them socially.
Yeah, it's versatile. You can wear it any day, any time. It's not a cycling thing. It's just, it's a piece of clothing that is, it breathes well. You don't have to wash it all the time. It's the secret.
The UK market for accessories, parts and clothes is now worth a massive £1.2 billion. And it's reckoned that the 11.85 million regular cyclists in Britain spend an average of £106 each year.
All manner of bicycle accessories.
These are tight pants.
Tour de France underpants. So in the Tour, the leader wears the yellow jersey, the fastest sprinter wears the green jersey, and the fastest climber wears the polka dot jersey. If you told us 6 years ago we'd be selling Tour de France themed underwear, that wasn't part of the original business plan.
So we've become a nation of cyclists very quickly, but what these guys have done is understood that this hobby is also a passion, and they've created a place where people are coming together with cycling at the heart of it, but with a great shopping experience, a social shopping experience. But whilst one sport is on the rise, another has fallen victim to our changing lifestyles. Golf. Golf is one of our oldest sports, steeped in tradition, but today it seems to be struggling to appeal to a young, time-poor audience.
The typical person that plays golf is an elder person, in my opinion anyway.
If you want to take up golf, expect to pay for clubs, shoes, clothes, lessons, and then the club memberships and joining fees. It can all add up to around £5,000. This year, for the first time since 1904, golf will be an Olympic sport. But whilst it should be going through a renaissance, the latest figures show a drop of nearly 200,000 weekly golf players in 7 years. Golf club membership is down a whacking 22%. And equipment sales are also suffering. So what's causing this golfing downturn? Well, as much as people still love the game, it just seems a bit out of step of how we live today. 18 holes of golf takes around 4 hours to play. The modern British male adult has just over 2 hours of exercise time a week. The average female only 30 minutes. What does that say?
The modern man, the modern woman doesn't have the time, so they really don't have time to spend 4 hours on a golf course.
But it's not just the length of the game that's a problem. It still slightly has the bank manager standing at the bar in the club feel about it, and those long lunches where you might play golf all afternoon. This May, members of one of the world's oldest golf clubs at Murfield, Scotland, voted for women not to join. A widely leaked letter written by a club member who supported the ban stated that admitting women would endanger our foursomes and speedy play. Oh yes. Scotland's First Minister, Nicola Sturgeon, called the decision indefensible.
I think golf still has an image problem. It's expensive, it's elitist.
So what can golf do to appeal to a wider audience?
I'm not really sure what they could do. I don't know, maybe more like youth events that involve golf, maybe.
Maybe they could have like an iPad stitched to the top of them, some technology.
Funny you should say that. Believe it or not, but the future of golf might not be in a private members club in the home counties, but in a basement in the heart of London, next to a meat market. Urban Golf is a virtual golf course, and there are venues similar to this in Leeds, Manchester and Bristol. Owner James offers his version of the golf experience, but with no dress code, no green fees, and they'll even let a woman like me have a go.
Nice.
That was better, wasn't it?
Golf has always been based around clubs and club membership.
Yeah.
And that is really, I mean, people being able to justify a golf club membership based on the number of times a year that they're going to play. In the evening, we charge the bays at between £30 and £60 per hour, but that's divided across the whole group. So typically in the evening, you'll have maybe 4 people coming in playing for 2 hours. At a lunchtime, you can play golf here for £12.50 for an hour, including a sandwich.
Really?
Yeah, which is really popular.
That's not bad. And this isn't just a bit of fun. A good proportion of urban golf's clientele describe themselves as avid golfers. A fun alternative for time and cash-strapped golfers. And it's not the only initiative to help save the game.
There's 9 million golfers out there who play on a driving range, a par 3 course, a pitch and putt. There's foot golf, there's adventure golf, you know, there's driving range activity where you have targets and scoring systems around that.
And in a world where most of us want to get fit, there's now an alternative to the slow walk around the green. Speed golf. But with all the changes in golf, you need to be careful not to lose sight of what people love about the game in the first place. It's great that golf is reinventing itself, but there is something still so special about taking the time, walking the green, and hitting a few balls. Yes! Now, where's that gin and tonic? For me, what's been so fascinating about what Britain buys is I've seen how we're shifting our culture from having to actually living. We are using our time and money differently as we value experiences over just buying more stuff. We want to buy things that enhance our lifestyle, feed our passions, and enable us to share experiences with others. Yes, of course, us Brits are still a consumer-centric culture, but what would you really rather spend your money on? Another gadget or a weekend away with family, friends and the kids? I know what I'd choose.
Next Thursday from 8, the boundaries of contemporary design pushed like never before. Brave architecture in the brand new Inside Out homes. 10 o'clock tonight, Ramsey and his mission to save hotels, the ones that reside in hell, the ones in heaven doing just fine. Inside Birmingham Children's Hospital next on Channel 4, when broken bones and broken hearts need mending.